What's up, YouTubers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear, and today we are going to be talking about Dark Knight's metal. Literally, that's sounds like a heavy metal band that I would love to listen to. Dark Knight's metal is one of DC's latest, big events. And in this comic, which is entirely, if the name didn't already kind of give you the idea, it's entirely focused on Batman. And a lot of the build-up that I talked about in the last video for Dark Knights, the one-shots, the forge, and the casting. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, I am probably going to skip over some things in Dark Knight's metal because I have noticed a trend in the first couple of books for this event, and is that they do tend to run these asides. And I'm not a big fan of it. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, it's actually one of the few, maybe possibly only problems that I have with this event comic so far, which is why I waited for the second issue to come out to see if it continued. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time focusing on these asides because they don't really seem to have any bearing on the main plot as a whole. So I know y'all are probably ready for me to shut the hell up and just get right into it, but I just felt that it needed to be said. I'll gloss over them for the most part, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. Before we dig in, I post new videos every week. Make sure to click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and also tap that bell button so you make sure you don't miss anything. Dark Knight's Metal #1 opens us up with the, kind of giving us that reminder about the three tribes, the tribe of the wolf, the tribe of the bear, and the tribe of the hawk. And of course, we're also reminded about the fourth tribe, which was a dark tribe, which is the tribe of the bat. We get this, throwaway scene where Mongol has the Justice League held on Warworld, I believe it is, and they're in the middle of some gladiatorial fight against some crazy machines that the Toy Man came up with, and it's just, there's really nothing here, and this is really the main, aside, so I'm not really gonna stay on it, but basically, it really is just a show of how much the rest of the Justice League trust Batman and how much they look to him for leadership, whether that's really what they were trying to show or not, but that's really what it comes down to. Now, I mean blind trust even in the face of absolute absurdity, just to give you an idea of where this story is going as a whole, but for the most part, it really shows no other bearing. It's several pages of wasted space. The one good thing you can take away from it is that there's a Justice League Voltron at the end of that story. The main thing we want to take note of is that when they are coming back from this whole war world aside, and when they get back, we discover that a mountain, this gargantuan mountain, has just appeared in the middle of Gotham City. And from what we understand, what some of the Justice Leaguers are talking about is that the mountain didn't necessarily just jam its way into Gotham. It's almost as if Gotham paved the way, like it moved aside and made room for the mountain. Superman's able to suss out with his X-ray vision that it appears to be hollow on the inside, like it's housing something. And once they find their way in, they find this facility. And of course, if you kept up with any of the casting and the forge, you may have a good idea of where this is all coming from. But we see that they have these holding chambers. And in one of these chambers is the Red Tornado. So there you go. That's another throwback character kind of coming in and reinserting himself into DC Rebirth. Right as the Justice League are starting to figure out the questions that they really need to be asking, they encounter what appears to be a Black Ops team that Batman already seems very familiar with. Now, granted, I don't really read a lot of the other Batman titles. I'm very select on my DC Rebirth reads. But there's a little side note that talks about, the fact that this technically popped up in All-Star Batman. I don't read it, I just read Batman. In the Bat family, I really just read Batman, and that's really about it, because the rest of it ain't really hitting on much. But we discover that this character that is leading this Black Ops team is Lady Blackhawk, who, let's go ahead and not put on airs here. It's actually Kendra Saunders, who, for those who don't know, is Hawk Girl. She basically comes in and is like, hey, there's some shit going down, and I'm gonna get you guys woke on it. And she lets them know there's a full-scale invasion that's been in the making for centuries, since probably the dawn of time. And she takes them back to her base in the South Pacific, and when she does, she's showing them all this stuff, like all this information, letting them know about how her and her lover, Carter Hall, Hawkman, came across this information. And this is really where we get kind of a quick primer on the nth metal, which we talked about in the previous video, and more so just its origin, where it comes from. And that is that this metal came from evil, from a part of the multiverse that we haven't seen yet. And not just like, Earth 2, 3, 8, 10, 50 something or other. We're talking about the dark multiverse. And we see that map that has been making the rounds from DC kind of inserted in, which I think is a pretty cool touch. The dark multiverse is what is actually threatening the world. And they're talking about how since the beginning we've always considered the fact that, everything was made of matter and antimatter. But she said it goes much deeper than that. We're actually looking at a world, our world, made up of dark energy and dark matter. She's breaking out everything. She's getting out information. She's breaking out ancient scrolls. She's giving them all the proof and, trying to show them what is actually coming. And she begins telling them about the dark tribe, the evil tribe, the tribe of the bat, and telling them about the dark entity that seems to be encroaching upon our world. And its name is Barbatos, which is kind of a dumb name, but whatever. And basically that it is going to arrive on our world through a human vessel, and using the dark thoughts and nightmares and machinations of that vessel to create its army, which I think is how we are getting the dark Batman of the multiverse. Because to be fair, Batman is very suspicious of his allies, so it makes sense that he has these weird nightmare imageries of them in his head. And that's essentially what the Dark Batmen are, or at least that's what I think. Kendra reveals that Batman is at the center of all this. She reveals that he is the doorway. He is the thing that is going to bring Barbatos over. And of course, we know because this is Dark Knight's metal and Batman is at the center of it. And of course, from the Forge and the casting, we know he's been keeping secrets from everybody. But before they can really dig any deeper into this, Red Tornado freaks out. Like, he has one of those crazy moments, like the android, the unshackled android gone rogue moments. And he's like, hey, I tried to warn you. You guys are digging into shit y'all need to stay out of. And as soon as everybody can kind of get their bearings back, Kendra realizes that something's missing, and it's the nth metal. And this nth metal is some of the last pure nth metal in existence. And Batman runs off with it. I mean, I'm talking he bolts and is trying to get the heck out of Dodge, away from everybody, because at the end of the day, he wants to break this down. That is Batman's whole MO, is that when things get crazy, he doesn't want anybody's help. He wants to sit in his Batcave, put everything in front of him, and take a hard look at it and figure it out for himself. Other characters in the DC universe are awakening and being affected by this incident. Dr. Fate has been having these visions. Steel has been having these visions. Even Plastic Man's egg form is responding to this. All of that stuff is getting affected by this dark energy that is getting stronger because of Batman's actions. And this is getting to the point where, like, Alfred is usually on board for just about everything. But, even Alfred is like, you might want to get everybody else involved on this. And Batman is like, look, I have to focus on this. I have to do it alone. And then a hum begins to chime, and it gets Batman and Alfred's attention. And when Batman goes to investigate it, he finds the journal of Carter Hall. And this is where we find out everything that Kendra Saunders was saying is absolutely true. And when Batman turns around, we see the Dream, which is, you know, a Neil Gaiman character. Like, this is something straight out of Sandman. And it's like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, look, this shit is just starting to jump off. That's pretty much, you know, what he's there to say. But, and this is when we realize that he is the one who's technically been narrating everything that's been going on since, you know, the Forge and the casting one-shots. So this is the voice that has been guiding us through the story up to this point, and he guides us even further into issue number 2 of Dark Knight's Metal. And I'm thinking that's where we're gonna leave it for right now, because I want to try and shorten the length of some of these videos, because I know with a couple of the last ones that I did, I kind of tried to fit a whole lot into one video, so we're gonna go ahead and let this one rest right here. But don't worry, because that doesn't mean you're technically gonna have to wait that much longer for the next video. What I'm gonna do is actually split these up so that we can have Dark Knight's Metal issue 1 video, issue 2 video, because since I'm getting more caught up on the current comics runs, I can actually try and get these videos out a little bit quicker and actually focus on the stuff as it's actually happening. So stay tuned, don't worry, not leaving you hanging, yeah, well, leaving you hanging, but not all the way hanging. But in the meantime, let me know what you think of Dark Knight's Metal so far. And a question I want to ask you, the viewers, is do you think Batman is off the reservation? Do you think he's gone too far now? Let me know in the comments what you think about it. And if you like this video, click that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, or you want to know when the next ones are coming out, click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers and tap that bell button so you don't miss anything. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time in Dark Knight's Metal number 2. Plus Ultra.